Now, you know, we normally start the show with the movie or TV star, but on Memorial Day and every day, in our opinion, the real stars are soldiers like our next guests who both lost their legs when they put their lives on the line to ensure our freedom. Please welcome two of the bravest women you will ever meet. Former First Lieutenant Melissa Stockwell and Sergeant Arishika Henry. Welcome now. Now that's a nice welcome from our audience. Welcome.
You know, our hearts are pounding when we come. So much, really. Isn't that nice to feel that?
And I'm sure everyone feels such thanks and gratitude for your service and devotion to our country and our freedoms and our families. So thank you for being here, but thank you for everything else that you've chosen to do with your lives. I want to get into why you decided to become soldiers. Melissa, you were ROTC in college, correct?
Yep.
And then you were first lieutenant in Iraq.
Yep.
What was behind your decision making to enter in?
I was really passionate about the American flag growing up. I was on my bed, on my room. I was pretty obsessed with it. So when I learned at a young age that kind of wearing the uniform would go along with defending those colors. It's kind of something I always wanted to do when I grew up.
Did you have other family members that were in the military?
No. So it was a big surprise.
So you were the first.
They thought it was a phase I would pass through.
And Sergeant Henry, what was your decision?
I just wanted to know the pride of serving my country and also receiving aid going to college. So that was behind my decision.
Okay.
You have 3 children.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yes, and you're still in active service.
Yes, I am.
I see.
Cute. Wow. That brings to mind something, too, Sergeant Henry. Is it harder? We always hear about the men leaving the families behind. We always hear those stories a lot. Do you think it's more difficult being a woman and leaving?
Yes, it is. And for me, the biggest thing for me, like I said, is motherhood. That's my first job.
Yeah.
I love serving my country.
How do you manage them?
I can juggle a lot of things. That's one of the things we do as mothers and as soldiers.
How would you feel if your children enlisted? Do you want them to?
Yes, it's their decision. I wouldn't let my personal views get in the way.
When you had to...
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, do they understand, Sergeant Henry, when you did have to leave them and go serve? Were your kids understanding about that?
Yes, they were older, so they were aware of what was going on.
How old do they know?
My daughter's 11 and my sons are 12 and 14.
Well, that's a tough age to leave and serve.
Yes.
Yeah. Melissa, you were the first female amputee of the Iraq War. And 5 years ago, you went to Iraq. I just want to make sure you have this with the 1st Cavalry Division. Your job was to drive supplies. You were only there for 3 weeks in a routine convoy with your Humvee, and you were hit by a roadside bomb. How did you find out? How did you come to terms with it?
My husband was over there at the time with me. We were kind of deployed together. So when I woke up in the Baghdad hospital, I knew something had happened to my leg, but I didn't know it was gone. So I woke up and I saw him, and I turned to him and I said, I think something happened to my leg. And that's kind of when he took my hand and said, you lost it, your leg is gone. And, you know, I get asked a lot what I thought at that moment. And it wasn't, you know, my life was over or poor me. It was, I was with my husband, I was alive, and, you know, I knew everything was going to be okay.
How long ago?
5 years.
5 years. And you have come to terms with it. I'm seeing you. You're walking.
Yes.
You swim. You do everything.
Marathons.
Right?
I mean, this summer you were at Paralympics for swimming, correct? I mean, that is outstanding. I mean, you both are made of something special because you both have. Is it true, even Sergeant Henry? You water ski now? You kind of turned it around too. Was it easy for you to make that transition? I mean, going from where you were, obviously recovering, and then having the prosthetic and learning that process. Was it more difficult mentally or physically, do you think?
Physically. It was more challenging physically. And it's all about, for me, overcoming fears that I had before. Being injured gave me a whole new outlook on life.
So you had to fear the water.
Yes.
When you have an amputation, when you have a wound as bad as yours, one remains in the Army? I thought at that point you don't.
It's actually up to the soldier, and it depends on the job and how severe the injury is.
Let me ask you, because your Sergeant Henry, your sister's here. She's sitting over there. Hi.
Are you twins? You look
They're
so much
twins.
alike.
Yeah,
They're twins.
You spent weeks in the hospital, and your sister was by your side. What was it like for you when you finally realized she was going to be all right?
Actually, I was able to, you know, get some sleep because when she actually made the call to me and told me she was injured, and she, you know, was able to talk long enough to say, I've been injured, and that's it. And so then they got on the phone and they told me what happened. But once I, you know, finally had a chance to put my eyes on her when she flew in from Walter Reed, you know, it was only then that I, you know, knew she would be okay.
Right. Is safety something, I'm sorry, Barbara, that either of you took into consideration before you went, and did it run through your mind that something like this could possibly happen?
I think for me, I always thought it was going to be someone else. I never thought it was actually going to be me. I was concerned for my soldiers or my husband, but you never actually think it's going to be me. Is that same?
Melissa was a lieutenant in the Army, and I just said to her backstage, I think we should still call you Lieutenant Melissa, because the generals are always General. Petraeus will always be General Petraeus. But yet we were supposed to call you by Melissa. Why? Why don't they let you just be Lieutenant Melissa?
We can go. We'll go by Lieutenant Melissa.
No, but Sergeant,
I like it too.
Sergeant Henry, you've gone through a lot of stuff, but you got remarried after you lost your leg, and so you've been married and your kids. Now, how do they feel about you walking around with a new leg? Have they adjusted the prosthetic? Have they adjusted to that?
Yes, the children didn't see me any differently. I think at times they tend to forget that I have lost my leg. They think I can still do things the same way that I used to. Yes.
They expect you to still go and clean and run after them and everything else.
Can I ask you a very tough question?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we have so many men and women who have served, who are still serving, so many of them deeply wounded. Was it worth it, this war, in your opinion, even though you've been wounded?
Yes.
I would go back and do it again, absolutely.
Ask you both.
And I know, it's amazing to think how much you continue to give. I know that you're both part of the Wounded Warrior Project, correct? Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Wounded Warrior Project, the mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors, and it starts when you're wounded, you come back to the hospital. It starts with just a backpack of comfort items and goes from there through job assistance, educational placement, getting you out of your hospital room, back onto your feet or foot, as for many of us, you know, skiing or riding a bike, and it just it empowers us to go and live our everyday lives as we want to.
You know, we've had so many people come and visit us here, but I have to say these are two of the most outstanding that have been with us, and we thank you and are moved by your stories. Thank you for all you do. We owe you a debt of gratitude. Our salute to them. For more information on the Wounded Warrior Project, check out our website, and we'll be right back. Thank you, Sergeant.